This is the story involving retired Chicago police officer Glenn Llewellyn and drug trafficker Saul Rodriguez became one of the most notorious federal corruption and racketeering prosecutions in Chicago in the 2000s. For more than a decade, one of Chicago's most successful drug robbery crews operated right under the noses of law enforcement. Their secret weapon wasn't a cartel boss, a gang leader, or a career criminal. It was a Chicago police officer carrying a badge. Federal prosecutors say that while the city believed Officer Glenn Llewellyn was fighting crime, he was secretly helping build a criminal empire alongside drug trafficker and police informant Saul Rodriguez. Together, they allegedly carried out a scheme so brazen that it blurred the line between law enforcement and organized crime. The story began in 1996 when Llewellyn met Rodriguez, a street-savvy drug trafficker who had become a highly paid police informant. On paper, Rodriguez was helping authorities seize drugs and cash from criminals. Behind the scenes, prosecutors say he was using that same information to identify lucrative targets for robbery. Between 1996 and 2001, the Chicago Police Department paid Rodriguez more than $807,000 for tips that led to narcotics investigations. But according to federal authorities, while taxpayers were rewarding him as a star informant, he and Llewellyn were allegedly building a violent parallel operation hidden beneath the cover of legitimate police work. The crew's robberies became increasingly bold and violent. Federal prosecutors said they stole more than 550 pounds of cocaine and approximately $3 million in cash from drug traffickers throughout the Chicago area. Victims were kidnapped, tied up, threatened, and robbed. One of the most dramatic robberies occurred on September 11, 2001, in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Prosecutors said Llewellyn arrived wearing his official Chicago police star and a protective vest. Flashing his badge, he approached a targeted individual and identified himself as a police officer. The victim complied, believing it was a legitimate police operation. Instead, he was driven to his residence where members of the crew were waiting. Inside the home, victims were restrained with zip ties while the crew searched every room. Eventually, they discovered roughly $60,000 in cash in duffel bags packed with cocaine. The drugs and money were later divided among the conspirators. As the years passed, the operation grew larger and more dangerous. By 2006, Rodriguez's crew was allegedly targeting major stash houses connected to large-scale drug trafficking organizations. In one robbery in Joliet, Illinois, members of the crew stole approximately 300 kilograms of cocaine, worth millions of dollars on the street. Federal prosecutors also accused Glenn Llewellyn of participating in the conspiracy that carried out the kidnapping of Pedro Flores, one of the biggest traffickers for the Sinaloa cartel, and received approximately 100 kilograms of cocaine for his release. This kidnapping became one of the most infamous crimes connected to the Rodriguez enterprise. Even after retiring from the Chicago Police Department in 2003, he allegedly continued helping the crew avoid law enforcement scrutiny and used his knowledge of investigations to keep the operation alive. But every empire eventually falls. In April 2009, the DEA launched a massive undercover sting operation in Channahon, Illinois. Rodriguez and his crew believed they were about to rob a warehouse containing millions of dollars worth of cartel cocaine. What they didn't know was that the warehouse was a federal trap. As Rodriguez and his associates moved in, federal agents closed the net. Arrests followed, and the criminal empire that had operated for years began collapsing almost overnight. Facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison, Rodriguez agreed to cooperate with federal prosecutors. His testimony helped investigators build their case against the man who had once protected him, Glenn Llewellyn. In 2010, federal agents tracked Llewellyn down in Las Vegas. When they approached him with an arrest warrant, the former officer reportedly appeared shocked that the crimes of years earlier had finally caught up to him. A federal jury later convicted Llewellyn of conspiracy involving cocaine trafficking. In 2013, he was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. U.S. District Judge Joan Gottschall granted Llewellyn compassionate release in 2020, citing obesity, hypertension, and a heart condition during the COVID-19 pandemic, and was released 6 years before his original release date. Despite Saul Rodriguez cooperating with authorities, his involvement in racketeering, narcotics trafficking, violent robberies, and murder-related crimes resulted in a 40-year federal prison sentence. What began as a partnership between a police officer and an informant ended as one of the most notorious corruption cases in Chicago history. Give me your thoughts on the comments on Officer Llewellyn making a bold decision partnering up with a drug trafficker, and do you think their prison sentence was fair? And don't forget to like and follow for more Chicago crime stories.